Alright guys, welcome back to another Master and Apprentice video and podcast. We got some Marvel news coming up that I wanted to talk about because obviously with Doomsday and Secret Wars and Spider-Man 2, we're all kind of expecting a new shift in narrative, right? This is the coming of an age and we're shifting to a new age and everyone kind of knows that, but we're waiting for just some kind of official confirmation of what to really expect because we've heard rumors, we've heard leaks, but we haven't really got anything official. So the article we're going over today is straight from the man himself, Kevin Feige, and it's it's not necessarily straight confirmation, but it is a pretty good idea of what to expect in the years to come, and a lot of years to come from the sounds of it. Marvel Studios has already mapped out its movie slate through 2042, with studio president Kevin Feige teasing a streamlined, simplified MCU post-Avengers Secret Wars. Also, the major focus is on the X-Men and the eventual debut of live-action Miles Morales. During a recent visit to Shanghai, Feige told Chinese outlet Watching Hollywood that Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars would conclude storylines that began even before the MCU, including journeys of some of the original X-Men. He described Secret Wars as both the end of the multiverse saga and the start of a brand new MCU. Feige said that Marvel has two major goals for the next Avengers films. Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars will conclude storylines that began before Iron Man, including those involving original X-Men. Quote, Feige said, "We want to do two things. First, to bring some storylines to close that started long before Iron Man, including the original X-Men characters. Second, to simultaneously set the stage for the future." Feige added, "Avengers Endgame was truly an end, and since then, we've tried and experimented with many new things, but Secret Wars is a beginning, and it will establish a streamlined, simplified, single universe that audience can keep up with. Some things will be familiar, but many things will be entirely new." Feige reveals Marvel Studios has movie plans mapped out through 2042. He says Marvel's long-term roadmap is a guide and may evolve over time. "We were just in Marvel Studios meeting room planning movies all the way up to 2042, Feige revealed. "Whether we can make it to 2042, who knows? Will it be those movies? Who knows? But this is how we approach and plan vast amount of potential stories in comics. We're constantly changing, constantly evolving, but having some guidelines helps us act more purposefully, especially with the X-Men. They've already had 10 movies, some very, very good, and some I think haven't lived up to the expectations. How do we plan the mutant saga in a very grand way?" So that kind of sums up what we thought about the X-Men, but he continues with more Spider-Man stuff. He quotes, continuing in this little meeting, "One of the fun things about the business is that we're always dreaming, coming up with ideas." Feige said when asked about the character, "There's a line in Spider-Man No Way Home where Electro says, 'Somewhere there's bound to be a black Spider-Man.' Audiences around the world were thrilled because they knew it might be a hint at Miles. That good news is that Sony has Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse series, which is very popular and excellent, and Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse is coming out next year. But yes, we definitely have plans, and I think a live-action Spider-Man movie has this destiny to introduce Miles. Sometime after the Spider-Verse story ends, we've been thinking about and discussing more Spider-Man adventures, regardless of agreements or contracts. My production partner Amy Pascal is already working on it, and we've had in-depth discussions about the next 2, 3, 4, and 5 Spider-Man movies might be about." And then it kind of continues. There's going to be Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, and they're going to be at Hall H this weekend, July 25th, which anytime Marvel does anything, they get Hall H, this big venue. It's not for anything small. Now, obviously, there's going to be a lot of promoting for the upcoming Spider-Man Brand New Day and Avengers Doomsday. But they also make huge announcements. Now, the thing is, are we going to see that? Like, is the general public going to see that? Or is a lot of that going to be kept behind doors? Who truly knows? I would like to think that a lot of it will be revealed. But all that being said, I think the first X-Men is kind of an obvious one, but it does, again, lean more into this legitimacy of they're setting up stories now, right? And a lot of people didn't want to believe the rumor, but it makes a lot of sense if they're going to start setting up X-Men now, that Jean Grey is in fact in Spider-Man Brand New Day, right? That in fact, the characters that we see from the X-Men in Avengers Doomsday not necessarily going to be carried over into the next universe, but are going to help set up the next generation of X-Men, and perhaps Secret Wars, right? These characters aren't just going to be killed off and never be seen again. Their stories are going to end and conclude in a way that helps set up the new X-Men. I mean, that's words from Feige himself. Now, is it going to be one-to-one Cyclops talking to Cyclops? I don't think so. I don't think that's what they have planned. But I do think the story will help kind of the general public accept a new generation of X-Men, a new generation of heroes. And that's cool. I think he kind of made note of it. Endgame was supposed to be the end of the MCU and a start of a new saga, but they didn't do anything to set up the next saga. They, had some light things here, like Cap giving Sam the shield, but that was it. And they're doing their best to make sure when they end this saga and they enter a new age, that they're setting up the new age. And I think that's very clear from everything Kevin Feige has said. And then same thing with Spider-Man. I think that the most unfortunate thing is, it would be really nice to see Miles Morales come out of Secret Wars, right? Even in comics, Miles Morales is not from the main universe. Miles Morales is from the Ultimate Universe. When Ultimate Spider-Man dies, Miles Morales comes in and becomes the Ultimate Spider-Man, much like we see in the Spider-Verse movies, right? That's how it was in the comics, but he's never been part of the main universe. After Secret Wars, though, all of the multiverse was destroyed and recreated, but Miles Morales stayed. And in fact, not only did he stay, he joined Earth 616. He joined the main continuity, right? And so in a way, that would be really cool if they can, in a way, adapt that very similarly into live action. Obviously, it doesn't seem like that's what's going to happen. I think that's a huge miss. I've heard some people complain, like it doesn't make sense for them to do that. It makes total sense. That's literally what they did in the comics, and I think most people thought that was a really good way to continue the continuity and not just create something new, but continue with it. And I would have liked to see that, but at last, that doesn't sound like what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I will say, they're planning a 2042, and I mean, plan is a very vague word. They're not sitting here saying, hey, these are the movies, we got them slotted away at 2042, and they pretty much say that in there. They're just saying, hey, here are some big ideas we have, we got them placed all the way out to 2042, and one thing I will say, and I think I've said in the past few videos, is that this depends really a lot on how well Spider-Man Brand New Day and the next two Avengers movies go. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking they're going to do great. Marvel has been on a slight upward tick, and their hype is raising a lot, and Spider-Man is a fan favorite character, so I feel like it's going to go well. But if these movies, for some reason, take a big dump, this could have some serious implications on the future of Marvel, which, again, I don't think that's the way it's going to go, but it's crazy to me. They're planning this stuff out. Like, I mean, you can expect 5, even a whole decade, 5 years to 10 years of a planning, but 16 years out is crazy to me that they're planning it like this, and I absolutely love it. One thing I like seeing is whenever one thing is setting something up for 5 movies down the line or 5 years down the line. Thanos was mentioned in, shown in the original Avengers movie, and it's so cool to see him slowly building in the background, and they're setting up their next saga. I love the X-Men aspect to all this, to where they're gonna have big implications. They're gonna be set up properly, and I mean, I don't think we can claim that Sadie Sink being Jean Grey is so much as just a leak anymore. I think there's gonna be a lot of confusion if she's not her and there's not a Jean Grey in this movie. But anyways, this is a lot of big news, and it seems like Marvel and Disney allowing them to be doing this, it seems like they're saying that, hey, we're pumping things up. We've had some failures. We had some shows that didn't go well. They admitted a while ago, I can't remember if it was last year or a few months ago, but they said, hey, we're going to slow down our pace. We're not going to just keep pumping out these crazy amounts of TV shows. We're going to slow it down and get some quality out. Things are looking up for Marvel, and I'm just overly excited for that. And Spider-Man's coming out very soon, which possibly by the time this video is coming out, Spider-Man just came out. I'm just excited.
Yeah, no, there's a lot on the line for these movies for sure. I mean, even the trailer reactions, or just the trailer amounts, 500 million for Avengers Doomsday in its first 24 hours. I think 700 or something like that million for Spider-Man. It's obviously an upward trend for hype and like just movement, but the box office will tell, right? And while this upward movement for hype, last year the movies got lower and lower in the box office, right? Captain America: Brave New World made much more money than Thunderbolts, and I think a lot of people would agree Thunderbolts is a much better movie than Captain America: Brave New World. So we'll see. These movies, like Ethan said, mean a lot for the future, and like Kevin Feige said, this is their plan, but this is going to be changing, and that kind of is decided by the fans and what they want and what they expect. So I think it's good. I think that the best thing out of all this is they're planning. They're not just waiting and twiddling with their thumbs. They're planning and scheming ahead, and that's the best thing. And it kind of been said and hinted at, but it's hard confirmation from the man himself that X-Men is going to be a core centric part of the next saga, and Miles Morales is coming, right? We've heard a lot of different rumors, and I maybe mistaken. Maybe Kevin Feige has hinted at it pretty hard before, but like just hearing it again close to the new saga coming up in 2 or 3 years, it's good to hear. So I'm excited. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys want to see. MCU has changed a lot in the last 10 years, and it's changed a lot since 2008. It's changed a lot since Endgame, and what you guys would want to see and what you would hope to see. All that down in the comments. Let us know what you guys think. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.